Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Missouri Instructional Leaders Network, where we bring together Missouri instructional leaders to share experiences, grow professional relationships, and build curriculum and instruction skills. My name is Valerie Montgomery. I'm one of the hosts here on the network. And this morning, I am joined by a special guest. This is Amber Knoernschild. From the Lamont School District. She is the elementary principal as well as the director of special services, which I don't know how you do both of those roles. But she's here with us this morning and she's going to talk to us about the PBIS system that has been put in place in her district. Amber, thank you so much for being here this morning, and I'll let you take it away.
I'm super excited to share. So a little bit of backstory. Lamont has been a part of PBIS for as long as I can remember. It started back when I was teaching. They did 2015 and 2016 were silver at the elementary level, and then 17, 18, and 19 we got gold at the elementary level. So PBIS is something we kind of live, breathe, eat, sleep here. But the high school has always kind of come and gone back and forth. In 2018, we started our principal store on the elementary side. On 2019, our high school started back up with PBIS, and then COVID happened, and so all of the PBIS training stopped. And so in 2022, we kind of sat down as a district. We had started with a new principal on the high school side and myself, and we're like, okay, we need to make this across the board because we are one building, preschool through 12th grade. And so we wanted everything to look and sound the same for all of our kids. And so we set up our preschool through 12th grade expectations and started implementing them. So that's a little bit about where we got to where we are at today. Like you said, I'm the elementary principal and director of special services. I keep very busy doing that. And then these are my people. My husband, we have 5 kids. Our oldest daughter is married and we have a grandson, and then my son's girlfriend. So not only do I do all this, but I keep busy with all of these people at the same time. So anyway, so this is just a little bit about what PBIS is and kind of some of the things that we have done. I'm not going to read all this to you guys, but everybody is welcome to use some of these things. The biggest thing about PBIS is that it is you're reinforcing those positive behaviors, but you're also explicitly teaching kids. We teach them to read, we teach them to write, we teach them, how to walk in a line. But sometimes I think we forget that they may not know how to walk into the cafeteria and sit down and use a fork or open their milk carton. Like, some of these things are things that they have to explicitly be taught so that they know what they're doing. So we really, really focus on that on the elementary side, making sure kids know what it should look like and sound like in the bathrooms and just those types of things. So they know what we expect, because we can't just assume that they know how to behave in the school. We do use Viking dollars. And I'll go back. Anyway, so we do use Viking dollars for our kids. The last slide was our expectations school-wide, and you can look at those. And then our teachers create classroom expectations. So the classroom expectations are what they want in their classroom based on what we have decided on as a school district. So like I said, our high school has not always used the PBIS as implemented as seamlessly as the elementary has. And so for them, we had to kind of come up with some ideas and suggestions for them to utilize within. And I thought these would just be helpful. So these are ways that our kids earn money when they're responsible, respectful, and safe within our school. And the high school does higher dollar amounts. Now on my elementary side, especially with our pre-K, K1 kids, we do a lot with dollars, $5 and $10 as our max, because they just don't understand the concept of it. And we also do a lot with math within it. So they're not ready for 20s and 15s and all of that stuff. We also reward our kids by doing extracurricular things. If they come to a ball game, they sign in at the ball game and they get points if they're behaving at the ball game and showing those expectations of the ball games and stuff like that. If they get a principal shout out, they get $25 put into their bank. So There's just ways that they can earn money besides other things, but we wanted those kids to be noticed for the other things that they were doing. If they were doing all that extra stuff, we wanted some of that extra to be reflected. I always tell my teachers, it's kind of like, if I am asking you to do something extra, you would like to be paid for that extra, or you would like to be recognized for that extra. And so we want to recognize our kids for those extras too. Also, our kids earn money in specials, and so they can shop as a class for those. So if most kids participate, they get $5 for the day. If everyone had a great day, it's $10. And if it's just an amazing day for that class, they can earn $15. And then the class decides what they would like to spend their money on. And so then the class earns like an ice cream party or extra recess. And I have had classes that are like, okay, we voted, we want ice cream and we want a pizza party or whatever. So they will save up the $250 and then they'll have a bigger party. Or a lot of times they combine it with movie and a popcorn party. That's one of their favorites.
It's interesting with what little kids like. My son's in first grade and that pajama party is very coveted for them.
Yes. Well, and our elementary secretary, she makes the best popcorn. We have an old ancient popcorn popper, which I'm sure is why it tastes so good, but it is one of their favorite things. So, and then if I throw some M&Ms in it, it's like they're in heaven right there. So,
but you bring up a good point, like use what you have. You don't necessarily have to go buy a bunch of
yes,
stuff to make this work.
Well, and like the mini stores. So some of my teachers have mini stores set up and they do this a lot. Junior high kids seem to like the mini stores, but they love to buy a hat pass. Well, that doesn't cost us anything. And the kids can wear their hat at school, or on the junior highs, they love to wear their hoods from their hoodies over their heads. So they can buy that to wear their hood up and not get in trouble for it. So, you know, it's finding what, like you said, what they want and then utilizing that to your advantage.
So how do you manage that though? Like, how can you tell who's got the hood pass?
So they have a sticker that they wear.
Okay.
And on the elementary side, I just let the teacher know so-and-so bought a hat pass today, so they can wear it. And it works really well, especially for our side. And the high schools, they wear their sticker because they want to wear their hat or their hood. So I was worried that they'd be like, I'm not wearing a stupid sticker, but they've been totally fine with it. They can also, our kids love to come to home games, and we have a lot of kids that live here in town, so they can purchase a game pass to come into the game with their money and that type of thing. And then, so that happens daily and weekly within the classrooms, and it's up to the teachers. On the junior high and high school side, they have certain teachers set aside that the stores are in their classrooms. On the elementary side, I leave it up to my teachers. In third grade, they're always paying to do the teacher's hair, and that's one of their big things. And so she keeps that going. Then quarterly, we do an elementary, junior high, high school principal store. And this is something cool that our high school principal has started. He created a banking system for our school. And so the kids, they count their money and the money is deposited into their account. And then when we do the Google Forms sends out, that money comes out of their account. So it's like their own banking account. And I always tell my kids, it's like going to Walmart. Like, you have to put your order in so that the people at Walmart know what to bring out. Because we've had kids that, for whatever reason, their order hasn't gone through. And I said, I can't just give you something because I don't have your order. And see, the money hasn't come out of your account. So Walmart's not going to just bring me stuff because they're like, oh, I think Mrs. K is going to want ice cream today, so I should just get ice cream. And I said, now at the end of the day, if there's plenty left over, they can come shop then. And it's worked really well. And I send it out to their emails. And so I'm also like, this is a responsibility thing. You have to check your emails because I've announced that principal store order forms have gone out. And with our little kids, the teachers help them with that. And then this year we started where kids can earn a semester field trip. So the kids can save up their money and buy a trip. Our elementary is going to go to Sky Zone in December, and the high school is going to go to Main Event. And then at the end of the year, the semester trip, if they want to save for the whole year, is the Day at the K. So the kids were like, we want more field trips. So we figured this was a way to get more field trips in and say, we do spend a lot of money. And I got the Google form linked on what our shopping cart looks like for everybody to look at. But that does start to add up. So we figured this might be a way to kind of alleviate some of that little stuff and just do one big thing for all the kids. So in our elementary, this is what we have displayed. So a lot of times for the first quarter, our preschool and kindergarten teachers will bring their kids over and be like, okay, these are the things that you can buy. This is what it looks like. Because on the form, there's pictures, but I think this is more meaningful to them to actually see what some of the stuff is. We spend a lot of money at Little Caesars on pizza. They love to buy pizzas. And they will pool their money and buy a pizza together and share it at the lunch table. So that's been really cool. But right there is our Google form. It's linked with what the principal store shopping looks like.
Yeah, if you can, after this, if you could share that link with me, I can post it under the video.
Okay, yeah, I
Everybody
would
can
absolutely do that.
Then they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can
yes. Well, and I've shared it a lot with our principals in their Casinger group that I'm in, because most of us utilize PBIS, and that was one of the things they're like, I want that, because we used to do it paper pencil and I would add it all up and I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's crazy. So it saves a ton of time. So some of the things that we've kind of added, like I said, and if somebody needs this, they can reach out to me. I am happy to share our high school principal's contact information. He created this whole banking system. The man is a genius when it comes to Google Sheets and some of those types of things. He can figure stuff out. I can go to Walmart and purchase all the things, but he has created the whole banking system. But I will say it's been really, really good for our high school kids, because teachers can just automatically go in and put a deposit in, so they're not having to handle the money. For the elementary kids, it's more concrete. Here's your dollar, you've earned your dollar. With the high school kids, they can just see it in their account. They have access to look at their account. So
well, and how great for like real world learning. Most of us don't get paid in, dollar bills. It just goes into our account.
Yes.
That's pretty genius.
Well, and like I said, my elementary kids, they sit down, they have a morning where we have some high school kids come over and they count out their money, and the teacher deposits into their account. So it's worked out really well. And the first few years, my elementary teachers would collect their money after they bought the stuff. Well, the high school kids would just come with this wad of cash to spend. And so it's made things a lot easier on that side and go smoother. One thing that I started, and I found this on TikTok, is the Principal's 100 Club. I really wanted my teachers to do more with positive office referrals. We had done really well, and then we kind of gone away from them. And so I saw this on TikTok. A kid gets a positive office referral. They come to the office, they get their prize. But then they get a slip to put their name over a number. And once we reach bingo, that group that's in the bingo and the teachers that nominate them get a pizza party. And we just did this for the first time. We had our first pizza party before Thanksgiving, but the teachers and the kids got super excited. And within one day we had 5 bingos. It went a little crazy. And so I'm like, we're only doing one bingo from now on. But it's a way that the teachers earn a treat and the kids, they love pizza. So pizza is always a good one for us. And like I said, the digital banking and the semester trips are things that we have added this year. Now, paying for all this is not, this is where they're always like, how do you do this? Our high school does a food auction, and parents donate food, and it can be homemade food. For instance, I did chicken and noodles and chocolate chip cookies. It's one of the things the kids like that I make. Other parents donated Chipotle or Taco Bell, whatever they wanted to. And we let the kids know that we were doing a food auction. And so they brought all the food in and lined it out, and they auctioned off the food. And the other day we did this, and we raised about $1,300 for our incentive fund. So
the kids purchase it?
Yes, the kids and teachers could purchase it.
With real money, right?
With real money, yes, with real money. And so it was a way that we're like, okay, before we've done some bake sales, we do have a foundation here at Lamont, and they will help fund some of our PBIS stuff. And our high school principal has done another grant to get some stuff. But we're like, okay, if we add these trips, we're going to need more money to help pay for these trips. And so we did the food auction the other day, and it went really well. The kids loved it, and the teachers loved it, because I had teachers sending in silent bids that morning. They sent out a list of everything that was going to be, and they're like, I will go up to $50 or whatever. And there was some stuff that was going for $50 to $60, $70. One of the moms makes these delicious homemade tacos, and I lost my bid on those. So there's lots of creative ways to do the fundraising. We don't do a lot of just the typical fundraising stuff, just because it doesn't ever go over well here. So we try to do things within house. We have done a holiday shop where I go to the Dollar Tree and purchase stuff. And then the kids bring in, where at the time it cost me $1, they would bring in $2. They would buy their presents for their family. We would wrap them, and we would make money that way. So there's lots of ways to make money where you get to keep more of the profits for yourself. But that's what I have. That's what we've kind of done with our PBIS here at Lamont. And one of the things I always tell people is you have to buy into being positive, and really, really explicitly teaching kids how they're supposed to behave, what it looks like, what it sounds like, because a lot of them don't know. And, we teach them to read, we teach them to write. We have to teach them what good, positive behavior looks like so that they can do it.
And so remind me, you've had this system in place for how long?
Well, we started earning awards in 2015. I tried to remember, I tried to remember how long we have been doing it, but I know we were doing it 3 or 4 years before that. So it's definitely something that, and my teacher turnover rate on the elementary side has been way lower than on the high school side, which is why I know we implemented it and we stuck with it. The high school side, it's come and gone and come and gone. And we decided we really wanted it to be pre-K-12. So it's been, a long time that we've been utilizing PBIS.
So I'm curious about, do you have a way, it sounds like you've had it in place for a long time.
Yeah.
But do you have a metric to kind of get a pulse of how it's working? Do you have a way of tracking the effectiveness?
So I will tell you that when we first started, we would have 10, 12, 15 kids on that tier 3, those kids that needed lots of extra support, and 5 or 6 on the tier 2. We are down to 2 kids on the elementary side that are on tier 2. And my office referrals are 1 or 2 a quarter.
Wow.
For the big behaviors. So
Wow.
I
That's
really
amazing.
do. Yeah, I really do think that is why we are where we are, is because we've had it. The kids know it. They know what to expect and what's expected of them. Everybody's like, we just have really good kids. I'm like, we really do have good kids, but also we've taught them what they're supposed to do at school. And, by the time they're over on the high school side now, his numbers are not quite as good, but I think part of it is they are high schoolers. And so some of those behaviors come out, but really a lot of times when our 6th graders move over to junior high, it stays about the same as the behaviors. And part of that could be the teacher buy-in too.
Well, yeah, my next question was, have you encountered resistance from staff or from parents, buying into this?
We have had on the high school side, and it was one of those things where, and that's part of the reason those guidelines were set, because their thought was, well, we expect them to turn their homework in. Yeah. And I'm like, I get that. I expect you to turn your lesson plans in, but you also expect to be paid on the 15th of the month too. So, we have to make sure that they need some of that incentive so that it becomes internal. But right now we need it's got to be external right now, for them to get and understand and see where they're coming from. So yeah, it has taken some, and we try to, with our kids, we're like, this teacher just doesn't give out as much money, and that's okay. That's who that teacher is. This teacher does. There's teachers that make it rain. They have, you know, they carry their bucket around. They see a kid doing a good thing, the kid pulls out the money. So yeah, but I do think setting those guidelines and also reinforcing some of that stuff with our extracurricular things has really helped with the parent buy-in, because our kids are behaving better when we see them out and about at ball games and things. And, you know, they see me come in and they're like, oh, Mrs. K's here. We have to follow school expectations. I'm like, that's right. You have to, you know, so they know what's expected of them.
How involved are students in, like you mentioned, some of the new things you've added this year? Does the student body have a say in incentives and how this works?
Yes. So the kids voted at the end of last year on what they wanted the semester trips to be. And so we went with those. Last year we did one semester trip at the end of the school year last year, and we did it where it was second grade through 12th grade. And this year we decided we wanted to make sure that our kindergartners could go kindergarten, first grade. So we did Sky Zone on the elementary side so we're doing 2 separate trips to kind of make sure that all of our kids could have the opportunity to go. But they also have voted, like we picked different restaurants. Pizza always pretty much stays the same, but we have a couple little restaurants here in town that we can order from, or moms that make different things that are willing to sell to the school. So they kind of vote on what they want to see in the principal's store. I always ask what kind of sodas, you know, I'm like, what sodas am I buying? So we try to get as much of their input on it, because I want them to want what's in the store. If they don't want what's in the store, then it doesn't, you know, they're not going to want to earn their money.
So my last question for you, what impact do you think this has had on academic achievement?
I would like to say it's been hugely impactful, but we've had lots of, you know, COVID happened and some of those types of things. But I do think our kids are in the classroom learning more, and our teachers are being able to teach more. So I think it has impacted it positively, not as much as we had kind of hoped that we would see. We've added some other things with RTI across the elementary but I think because our kids have good behavior, we can do a K-6 RTI, and I don't have to worry about my 6th graders that might need to be down with some 2nd graders being disrespectful or not following school expectations. So I do think that part has been helpful so that we can implement some of these other strategies and ideas that we have across the elementary. That also, one of the things that I've noticed, the biggest thing is I don't have to worry about high schoolers walking through the elementary halls anymore. Like, they follow our expectations. They're not cussing. They're not, you know, throwing stuff. They're not being disrespectful. So they're not interrupting the instruction going on the elementary side, because they have to walk through our building to get to like the ag and some of those types of things. So we would like to see it have a greater impact on academics, but you know, it hasn't had what we had hoped it would have, but it's also made my teachers happier, because they don't have the behaviors that we used to see.
Yeah, and I mean, often classroom management it's such a barrier to, you know, teaching and learning. And so it sounds like you've made a lot of progress. And you mentioned earlier about teacher retention.
Yes, and I think it's had a huge impact on teacher retention.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
This is really good stuff. And this online banking, this digital banking, I've never heard of that. And I think that's such a cool idea.
Yes.
So yeah, well, thanks again. And I'll be sure to post this to our members.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.